the political assassin, Minnesota rocked by deadly attack on lawmakers. It started like any other quiet morning in Minnesota, but within hours, 2 state lawmakers were gunned down, 2 others were fighting for their lives, and an entire nation was left in shock. Now, authorities have named 57-year-old Vance Luther Boelter as the man behind this politically charged bloodshed. With a growing hit list, tactical gear, and a manifesto found in his vehicle, this was not random, it was a carefully planned mission. The FBI has launched a massive manhunt as the nation watches every single move in real time. What led Boelter to target Minnesota's elected officials? And how close did he come to unleashing even more terror? This is the full story, every fact, every detail. The first call for help came from a quiet residential neighborhood in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Inside the home of State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, officers found both victims fatally shot. Just hours later, authorities were called to a second scene, this time to the home of State Senator John Hoffman in Champlin. There, Senator Hoffman and his wife Yvette were discovered suffering from multiple gunshot wounds but still alive. Both were rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Early evidence revealed that the attacker had posed as law enforcement to enter both homes. Witnesses reported the suspect wearing a police-style tactical uniform complete with a badge and body armor, allowing him to bypass suspicion and gain access. Investigators quickly realized this was not a random act of violence. The coordinated nature of the attacks pointed to a deliberate and targeted plan. As news of the shootings broke, Minnesota law enforcement activated an immediate statewide response. Local police, state troopers, and federal agents flooded both crime scenes, securing the neighborhoods and issuing urgent public safety alerts. The FBI joined the investigation within hours, classifying the attacks as politically motivated acts of domestic terrorism. Authorities issued a warning that the suspect was considered armed, dangerous, and potentially still disguised as law enforcement. Residents in surrounding areas, including Brooklyn Park and Champlin, were advised to remain indoors and verify the identity of anyone claiming to be a police officer. Helicopters patrolled the skies, while tactical teams canvassed nearby wooded areas and neighborhoods. The manhunt had officially begun. By the following morning, investigators made a critical breakthrough. The suspect was officially identified as 57-year-old Vance Luther Boelter. His abandoned vehicle was discovered not far from one of the crime scenes. Inside the car, agents recovered disturbing evidence: a detailed manifesto outlining his political grievances, a list of 70 potential future targets, and multiple pieces of law enforcement-style gear, including a police badge, body armor, and tactical equipment. The evidence confirmed that Boelter had not acted on impulse. He had carefully prepared his attack, selecting specific political figures, most of whom supported abortion rights. Investigators now believed that Representative Hortman and Senator Hoffman were among the first names on his escalating hit list. The discovery of the kill list and manifesto turned the case into a national security priority. Vance Luther Boelter, age 57, had no prior criminal record that would have predicted such violence. He previously owned and operated a private security company called Praetorian Guard Security Services, offering personal protection and surveillance services. Boelter also had a history of religious involvement, including mission work in Africa through evangelical organizations. Politically, Boelter leaned heavily conservative. On social media, he often posted messages critical of abortion rights, LGBTQ communities, and progressive politicians. Investigators believe his radical views were escalating in recent years. In the days leading up to the attack, Boelter reportedly sent text messages to a roommate indicating he might be dead shortly, suggesting he was fully aware of the violent path he was about to follow. The profile painted a picture of a man who methodically planned his actions, driven by a blend of political extremism, personal grievances, and a desire to make a statement through violence. As investigators examined Boelter's manifesto and online activity, a clear motive emerged. His writings revealed deep anger towards abortion rights supporters, progressive lawmakers, and what he described as the moral decay of America. Representative Melissa Hortman and Senator John Hoffman were both vocal supporters of reproductive rights, making them high-profile targets in Boelter's eyes. The manifesto also mentioned his belief that violent action was the only remaining option to defend traditional values. Authorities believe the hit list found in his car contained 70 names, including other elected officials, abortion providers, and activists across Minnesota and possibly beyond. Federal agents have classified the attack as an act of politically motivated domestic terrorism. The level of preparation, from tactical gear to impersonation of law enforcement, confirmed that Boelter had spent significant time planning a coordinated, multi-target assault. With Boelter's identity confirmed, law enforcement launched one of the largest manhunts in recent Minnesota history. The FBI, US Marshals, state police, and local agencies coordinated a full-scale search operation. Authorities warned that Boelter was heavily armed, extremely dangerous, and still possibly disguised as law enforcement. Residents in Brooklyn Park, Champlain, and surrounding communities were urged to remain indoors, avoid contact with any suspicious individuals, and verify the identity of anyone claiming to be an officer. Helicopters, drones, and tactical ground teams swept through neighborhoods, forests, and abandoned properties. The FBI offered a $50,000 reward for any information leading to his capture. Law enforcement agencies across state lines were also alerted, fearing Boelter may attempt to flee Minnesota or target others on his list. The search was now a national priority, unfolding in real time as millions followed the updates. The attack sent immediate shockwaves across the political landscape. Leaders from both parties swiftly condemned the violence, calling it an attack not only on individuals but on American democracy itself. President Biden issued a statement calling the shootings a horrific act of political terror. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz described it as an assault on the very fabric of our state government. In response, state capitals across the country heightened security measures. Lawmakers, especially those involved in reproductive rights and abortion policy, were advised to increase personal security and remain vigilant. The incident reignited fierce debates over political extremism, domestic terrorism, and the growing threats faced by public officials across the United States. Law enforcement officials warned that the discovery of Boelter's kill list indicated this could have easily escalated into a mass political assassination spree if not intercepted early. As details of the attack and manhunt unfolded, the public reaction was immediate and intense. Major news networks, online platforms, and social media exploded with breaking updates, live coverage, and endless speculation about Boelter's motives and possible next moves. Hashtags related to the Minnesota shootings trended globally, while political commentators debated the rising dangers of political extremism and domestic terrorism. Supporters of the victims gathered for candlelight vigils across Minnesota, honoring Representative Hortman and her husband while praying for the recovery of Senator Hoffman and his wife. Meanwhile, conspiracy theories also began circulating online, with some extremist circles attempting to justify or minimize Boelter's actions. Federal authorities closely monitored these conversations, concerned about the potential for copycat attacks inspired by Boelter's manifesto and ideology. As the manhunt continues, federal agents are expanding their investigation into every aspect of Boelter's life. Authorities are interviewing his family, friends, business associates, and members of his religious and political circles, searching for anyone who may have known about his plan or provided assistance. Digital forensics teams are analyzing Boelter's online footprint, social media posts, private messages, and financial transactions to trace the full scope of his preparation. The FBI has also confirmed that additional security protocols are being put in place to protect others named on Boelter's hit list. Law enforcement officials have made it clear, if Boelter is captured alive, he will face multiple federal charges, including murder, attempted murder, domestic terrorism, and conspiracy to commit political violence. This investigation remains active and highly fluid. New details are expected to emerge as agents work around the clock to locate and apprehend him before any further bloodshed can occur.